Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm going to be telling you about my TBR for the Irish Readathon. So if you don't know what the Irish Readathon is, I will leave all of the information linked down below in the description to my announcement video and Aoife's announcement video. But basically it is a month that myself and Aoife run annually in March every single year, dedicated to Irish books. So we're basically just encouraging you to read more Irish books than you normally would. So even if you just read one book that you could class as an Irish book, be that the author is Irish or it's set in Ireland or a history book about Ireland, if you just read one book like that, you are participating in the readathon. But we do have some prompts, some challenges if you want to be a bit more challenged with your reading. So I'm going to try and pick out a book that fulfills each of those challenges. You can certainly double up on challenges, so you could have one book that fulfills every single challenge. It's super flexible and entirely up to you. And if you have no idea what kind of book you might like to read for one of these challenges, I will also leave my playlist of videos for the Irish Readathon linked down below in the description as well, that has loads of recommendations that we've given over the years. We also have a Discord server, which I will leave linked down below, where we're going to be chatting about all things Irish Readathon. So let's get into what I am going to be reading. Our group read this year is None of This Is Serious by Catherine Persifka. I think this definitely falls into that category of book that I absolutely love, which is like young woman figuring her shit out. But I think this particularly has a focus on social media, which is something that I'm really intrigued to read about. It's about relationships and being vulnerable and kind of the online self versus the kind of authentic real life self. And it's a book about friendship as well. As I said, we have a Discord server where we're going to be talking about all things Irish Readathon, but we will also have a specific dedicated space to talk about the group read as well. Every year we also have the challenge to read a book with green on the cover, so this can be the tiniest bit of green. It doesn't even need to be an Irish book for this prompt, it just has to have green on the cover. And for this I am going to read Girls Who Slay Monsters by Ellen Ryan. I feel like people are going to say that this might be blue, but I definitely think there's shades of green on here. This is such a beautiful book that is about Irish mythology, but specifically the forgotten women of Irish mythology. So it's delving into stories which were once, really well known and really popular, but gradually the focus shifted towards stories of kings and male warriors, and the stories of these women were gradually pushed aside. So this book is retelling the story of those great women and giving their stories the attention that they deserve. There are also illustrations from Shona Shirley MacDonald in here as well, and I love a book that has illustrations in it. Our next prompt is to read an Irish children's book, and that encompasses young adult as well. And I have gone for a YA book. I'm going to be reading A Million to One by Adiba Jagadar. You may remember this author from our group read a couple of years ago, The Henna Wars. So I've read two books from this author before and absolutely loved both of them, and I'm so excited by the premise of her new novel, which is a heist novel about 4 different girls, and it is set on the Titanic. This author's previous 2 books were female-female romances, and I'm not sure if there's any elements of that in this book, but I'm intrigued to find out. And she's just become a complete auto-buy author for me. I will read absolutely anything that she writes. She has another book coming out later this year that is, I think, a bake-off inspired female-female romance, so I've already got that on pre-order. I'm definitely going to be reading that one as well. The next prompt is to read a piece of commercial fiction, so it's kind of up to you how you interpret that, but something that is very kind of, genre fiction, romance, thriller, crime. And I have gone super commercial for this prompt. I am going to be reading Once, Twice, Three Times an Aisling by Emer McLysa and Sarah Breen. So this is the 3rd book in the Aisling series. And in this series of books, we are following this character called Aisling, who is a bit of a caricature of kind of young Irish woman who moved from small Irish town to the city, is finding her way, has complicated friendships, complicated love life, etc, etc. And in the first 2 books, we are following her through the chaos of her life, but also some more serious topics as well. And in this 3rd book, we are leading up to Aisling's 30th birthday. I have the 4th book in this series on my shelf as well, so I'm not sure if when I finish this one I'll be able to get to the 4th book, but if not, it's definitely one that I would get to another time, especially because it has gorgeous green sprayed edges that match the cover of the book, so obviously it would be perfect for read a book with green on the cover. I think this is going to be a super quick, really easy read, and definitely something that I can see myself just reading cover to cover in a couple of days. The next prompt is to read either a very long book or a very short book. So a very long book being like over 500 pages, a very short book being under 100 pages, and I'm going to do both. So for a very long book, I'm of course going to be reading a Marian Keyes book. I try to read a Marian Keyes book every Irish Readathon, and this time I have gone for Watermelon by Marian Keyes. I don't know too much about the plot of this book, but I know it's the first book in the kind of sequence of novels about the Walsh family. The books I've read from Marian Keyes before, I guess, are sort of family sagas that look at particularly the lives of women in the family. So in Watermelon, we are following Claire, who on the day that she gives birth to her first child, her husband James tells her that he has been having an affair and he is going to leave her. What a dick. So Claire returns to her parents' home, and while her parents are sympathetic, her sisters are less so and are really just more interested in the new toy in the family, that toy being Claire's newborn baby. Really looking forward to reading this one. I've loved every Marian Keyes book that I've read. They are chunky, but they are so compulsively readable, and I think Marian Keyes characters are just always so nuanced, and they are characters that not only do you root for them, but you also recognize their flaws as well. I think she's just an incredible writer. I have loads more of her books on my shelves. I'm probably only going to get around to reading one because, as I said, they are so chunky, but I definitely want to read over the course of my life. I want to get to reading all of her books. And then I have a few little books that I'm going to try get to for the under 100 pages. So I have Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast by Oscar Wilde, A Terrible Beauty is Born by W.B. Yeats, and The End by Samuel Beckett. I don't know too much about any of these, but these are all writers that I've read from before, so intrigued to read more from them, and they're all under 100 pages, so should be very quick reads. And then the final prompt is to read a book based around one of the buzzwords we have collected about the readathon. So we asked people on our Instagram, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's always linked down below in the description, we asked people to submit words that they associated with the Irish Readathon, and these are some of our favourite words that were suggested. So we have pride, home, language, spring, knowledge, friendship, dogs, feminism, and warmth. So you don't need to fulfill all of those buzzwords, you can just pick one, but equally if you want to push yourself a little bit more and try and, you know, fulfill the whole board, you can definitely try to do that. I'm not going to do that. I think certainly some of the books that I've already picked could fulfill one of the buzzwords, but I am going to pick out a book specifically for, of course, the feminism prompt. And I am going to be reading Bad Bridget, Crime, Mayhem and the Lives of Irish Immigrant Women by Elaine Farrell and Leanne McCormick. So this non-fiction book is social history and true crime, specifically, of course, about Irish women, Irish immigrant women to be even more specific. The 19th and early 20th century was not a great time to be a woman in Ireland, and it found many women emigrating, particularly to North America, to try and form a new life. But a lot of those women ended up in a bit of trouble. And you know, as a feminist, I don't just support women's rights, I support women's wrongs. I have such high hopes for this book. I think it's going to be just a new favourite. I'm already so excited to read this. So that is my main TBR for the Irish Readathon. There are definitely some other books that I would like to try and read, but the reading pace I'm going at the minute, this might be your lot, but I am going to do another video where I tell you about all of the other Irish books that are on my TBR, my sort of broader, wider TBR, all these books behind me that are Irish books. If you are looking for any specific recommendations for the Irish Readathon, do leave me a comment down below, or feel free to ask on the Discord server as well. If you are participating in the readathon, let me know what you are most excited to read, and if you have done a video on your TBR, do let me know as well and I'll make sure to check it out. That is it from me today. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will speak to you in my next video.